And we are live.
Well, good evening, folks. Good evening. Welcome again to another edition of the Second Amendment Daily Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Aaron Dorr here. I'm in Iowa right now, working in a bunch of states, as a matter of fact. But tonight, I'm in Iowa. Guys, as always, immediately, let us know where you're watching from right now in the comment section. Let us know right away where you're at. Helps us get past the Facebook shadow banning that we all know is a real thing. So let us know where you're watching from.
Shadow ban.
We've got three co-hosts tonight, our standard cast of characters. We've got Ben Dorr, my brother, in Minnesota, in lovely, warm Minnesota right now, where the weather is about as nasty as the politicians. We've got Chris Dorr.
Horrible.
Other brother of mine in Ohio right now, in Beaver Creek, Ohio, at Ohio Gun Owners Headquarters, and always our other brother from a different mother, maybe, if that works.
Lighter one.
Patrick, the taller one with the red hair. Patrick Parsons with Georgia Gun Owners down.
Yes, thank you. Georgia, let me hear y'all.
Guys,
let me know where y'all watching from, Georgia.
I think we got to address, one thing, housekeeping notes.
Let's do it. Go into it, Aaron.
Well, they're probably not the same one you're talking about, but
well,
where we've been.
Which team is going to clean clock down in Atlanta?
Well, that's not even worth conversation. We know their business. No, I was just going to mention where we've been. I've been getting a lot of notes on Facebook. Where have you guys been on Thursday nights? And I want to apologize, but I can't really say much more than the obvious, which is that we're working like 80 hours a week right now in about a dozen different states, trying to stamp out gun control and trying to advance gun rights right now. And I've been living in a rental car and hotels more than I've been home, the way it seems, for the last couple of weeks. And it's hard, I know, for all of us to scratch out time that we can make this show happen. So I'm happy to be here tonight. I think you guys all are as well. And again, guys, as you're getting signed in, let us know where you're watching from. We have folks who are watching right now in Wyoming, and we have lots to talk about in our state roundup section about Wyoming going on right now. Some bad news today in Wyoming. We got some bad news in Minnesota that Ben's going to talk about in a little bit. We've got some horrible news.
More than the usual. Guys. Breaking news. Breaking bad news. It's a daily occurrence here.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good and bad news out of Iowa. We're going to discuss a national roundup, what we're seeing on H.R. 8, on Senate Bill 7. A lot to talk about tonight, guys. Let us know where you're watching from right away. And post it in the comment section. We already have folks who are commenting right now, watching in Wyoming, which is great. So, guys, in Missouri is the same thing. Wherever you're watching from, let us know. But I know, guys, we want to discuss right off the bat the big topic that we're being asked about quite a bit, which is this William Barr situation, which feeds into the red flags deal. We've been discussing red flags on this podcast for quite some time now. We all know the NRA is pushing this and pushing it hard. And I think what we've all been worried about is now coming true, right? I mean, once Chris Cox opened up his stupid mouth and once $6 million Wayne started backing red flag gun seizures and calling on Congress to enact red flag gun seizure laws. Yeah, they make a little tweak, try to make it a little bit better, but it's still a red flag gun seizure law. Once that happened, well, now it's cool. And now all the big statists can do it in either party. And I know with William Barr, guys, we saw some very bad quotes, very bad stuff. I know I first heard about it when I was doing a broadcast for you, Chris, in Ohio. You were in Minnesota working on a gunfight in Minnesota, and I was pinch hitting for you in Ohio, and we first heard about that from Ohio Gun Owners members. What is the deal with William Barr?
What's the lead off on this? Patrick, why don't you explain what's going on here?
So guys, I don't know if y'all saw the video. But William Barr is President Trump's Attorney General nominee. Again, stupid choice. In my opinion, everything that I've seen, this guy is a swamp monster. Okay, this is what we see out of D.C. I worked in Washington, D.C. for 5 years, guys. There are swamp monsters everywhere waiting in line to take positions. It's shameful. But what we saw the other day was Dianne Feinstein. Assault weapons ban Dianne Feinstein wants to take all Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. She's sitting there in the Senate. I guess this is Judiciary Committee, guys. I think Judiciary Committee.
Giggling.
I hate her voice.
Yeah, but she's sitting there like giddy. She even gave a piece of candy to William Barr's grandson.
What?
But she asks him directly for
laced.
the answer on red flags. Okay, remember, red flags, NRA, NRA, NRA. We've got that video later. But what I'm about to show you is the video of Dianne Feinstein, like the evil granny genius up there. She's almost 90 years old, guys. She wants to screw all of us, and she'll be long gone. But what I'm about to show you is the video of Dianne Feinstein questioning William Barr and looking pleased as punch at what she heard. So here's the video, guys. After the video, we'll be back to discuss, soak it all in. Remember, keep it in mind. The NRA supports red flags. Dianne Feinstein is happy as heck. Here comes the video, guys. Watch.
Do you still believe that prudent controls on weapons won't reduce violent crime? And if so, what is your basis for this conclusion?
I think that the problem of our time is to get an effective system in place that can keep dangerous firearms out of the hands of mentally ill people. That should be priority number one, and it's going to take some hard work, and we need to get on top of the problem. We need to come up with agreed to standards that are prohibitors of people who are mentally ill.
Do you still believe that prudent controls on weapons won't reduce violent crime? And if so,
I think we're
what
back
is your
live,
basis
Patrick.
for this
Yeah, hold on a
conclusion?
second there, Chris.
I think that the problem of our time is to get an effective system in place that can keep dangerous firearms out of the hands of mentally ill people. That
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
should be priority number one, and it's going to take some
As
hard work.
soon as this video's done,
and we
everyone will
need
be
to
back live.
Get on
I'll
top
let you
of the
know.
problem. We need to
Accidentally
come
hit
up
enter.
with agreed to standards that are prohibitors of people who are mentally ill. We have to put the resources in to get the system built up the way we did many years ago on the felon records and so forth. We have to get the system working, and as I say, it's sort of piecemeal a little bit right now. We need to really get some energy behind it and get it done, and I also think we need to push along the ERPOs so that we have these red flag laws
Feinstein's trying to crack a smile.
to supplement
Please tell me what
the
I
use
want
of
to
the
hear.
background check to find out if someone has some mental disturbance.
just
This is
evil.
the single most
her
important thing
cough.
I think we can do in the gun control
Someday
area
it's your last call.
to stop these
gonna
massacres
happen.
from happening in the
keel.
first place.
Well, thank you. I'd like to
Gonna
work with you.
happen.
There we go. We're back. Go for it, Chris.
The most important thing we could do, is that what I heard him say? I mean, the most important thing we can do is confiscate firearms before somebody has been adjudicated in court. This is madness.
That's what you heard. That's what he
It
said.
doesn't just break the Second Amendment. It's the Fourth Amendment. It's the Sixth Amendment and the Second Amendment all at one time. All at one time. And this is what happens, I think, as we've been saying for weeks now, when the NRA gives their blessing to this gun seizure proposal. Once they say it's okay, and then once they have their boy introduce the bill, because, of course, we all know that Rubio introduced the bill for the NRA on the opening, two days in to the 2019 Congress. Well, now it's in vogue, and so now Bill Barr can talk about it. Now Lindsey Graham can talk about it, who now is the chairman again, by the way, of Judiciary, where this bill would be heard. And so this is becoming a real runaway freight train because the NRA is backing this bill. And this is why I know we are all so frustrated with them because, this is dereliction of duty. This
And I
is
think-
dereliction
yes.
of duty.
And I think a huge point that a lot of our people may not know, and again, I worked in D.C. for 5 years. All of us have done a little bit of work there at minimum in state capitals. This was not a mistake, okay? This guy has been around Washington, D.C. for 50 or 60 years. He has met with all these senators before this session. He knew what they were going to ask. It wasn't like it was just a surprise to William Barr about red flags. He knew the answer. He knew what he needed to say, and he knows what the D.C. swamp. These guys are federal attorneys and judges or whatever the heck you want to call them, the official names, they want power. And Republican or Democrat, it doesn't really matter. And I think it'd be hard-pressed to really find anyone in this position who wouldn't say that. I mean, there probably are a lot, but, you know, that's what we're stuck
I haven't
with.
seen a single grassroots gun owner, and I work all over the country in gun politics. I haven't seen a single grassroots gun owner who is calling for a red flag gun seizure bill.
No.
Right. Yeah.
All we see is MSNBC types, these insane talking heads saying red flags, red flags, red flags. And instead of saying, hell no, get off my lawn, the NRA comes out there and says, yeah, we're down with that. More than that, we're going to have our A+ and rated, our A+ endorsed buddy, little Marco, tiny little Marco, introduce the bill. So there you go. There you go, Feinstein. You don't have to do it. We'll take care of it. We'll have our guy, little Marco, introduce it for you. And it makes me sick. I mean, Tyler Cambridge right now.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think when it comes to this issue, I mean, there was a lot of division, I think, in the gun rights community when it came to the bump stocks thing. A lot of people were like, nobody uses them. They're just a dumb little trinket. Let's just let that one go. I mean, but like you said, Aaron, I haven't seen anybody, and we interface with tons of gun owners here. We haven't seen anybody. Pretty much, I think the entire gun rights community is locked up against this stuff because they're all looking at this through the same lenses we all look at this stuff through, and that is we're looking at it
reality,
from our kids' perspective, for our grandkids' perspective. We can't trust the courts to carry this stuff out properly. We can't trust, these state legislatures to follow this once it's codified or leave it alone. Everybody knows, the gun rights community knows that this stuff it's pure poison. And you can see that it's pure poison by looking at Feinstein's evil giggle. I mean, she's ecstatic about this. She's got the NRA on board. She's got Trump on board and his AG on board. But the gun owner community, they are not on board on this.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing that we've learned in Minnesota, and gun owners in Minnesota are just so entirely too well aware of this fact, and that is that there's no Republicans or Democrats in Minnesota anymore. It's us versus them. It's us versus them. There's nobody standing in the gap in Minnesota. This is an all-out slugfest. People are losing their minds in the legislature. We have gun owners pouring on the pressure. Republicans are attacking gun owners. Democrats are attacking gun owners. It's us versus them. And so the sooner this whole idea that that Republican legislators in any capacity anywhere can be counted on to be stalwart defenders of our most cherished freedoms is a laughable joke. It's ridiculous.
I know all of our organizations that emails already are doing them as we speak, perhaps telling our members to email their senators and tell them, vote no. I mean, this is insanity. It's one thing to have Dianne Feinstein talking about a red flag bill, but this is going to be the AG. He's going to implement policy. He's going to be the guy who's helping to drive this. And if little Marco's red flag bill gets passed, which of course is the bribery of state governments and urging them to pass state level red flags bills, then they give federal dollars to the states. That's going to be a DOJ program that's going to come through Barr's office. And so now we have the guy who could stand in the gap on behalf of gun owners saying that passing red flags is the most important thing we can do to stop crime. And this is, this is preposterous. And this cancer starts with the NRA, who endorsed it. And once they did that, the door is open, and all these big statist losers from either side of the aisle can run right through it. And they're doing it right now.
One of our guys, sorry, Patrick, one of our guys here in Ohio just said it best, Chris Laidlaw, and big shout out to everybody watching here in Ohio tonight. But Chris Laidlaw said it best. Red flag laws are going to get a lot of people killed. That's what's going to happen. Everybody knows about what happened in Maryland, but this is going to get a lot of innocent people killed. And, a lot of people in our comments here are saying stuff like, well, this is going to turn into a civil war at some point, because gun owners aren't just going to let this one go. This isn't a bump stock we're talking about here. This is confiscation of firearms without due process. It might come to that. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Patrick.
I see some people on my, Justin Green says they will never seize all guns. Good luck with that. Well, maybe not, but with especially when you consider this federal bill, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rabbit trail here, but with the red flags, I mean, ultimately what they want to do is just, get everybody in one big, massive freaking database. And then, okay, maybe they don't come to every house and seize every gun. Yes, that's probably pretty much impossible. But once they get those permit lists all federalized and into the federal system, and they probably have a lot of it anyways, let your imagination run wild. I mean, you get a letter sent to your house, we want to know what firearms you have. You need to come and register them with the federal government or the state government. If you don't do it within 90 days, you will get a fee or a tax assessed. I mean, anything you can imagine these folks are thinking of. And I know I'm on a rabbit trail on red flags, but this is why this stuff has to be opposed at all opportunity, because at the core of it, there's just no due process. I mean,
Well, I know for one, I know we see some people in the comments who will say, well, it's not going to affect me.
Yeah.
From my cold dead hands. I'm gonna have a boating accident and lose my bump stocks. Whatever the issue.
Yeah.
Trust me, I dig it. I mean, I get the sentiment, but I would much sooner stop these bastards right now on the floor of state capitals or the federal Congress than have to deal with the ramifications of a national red flag gun control law. And I'd much sooner harass and destroy and crush the careers and the spines, politically speaking, for the humor impaired of any lawmaker on either side of the aisle who tries to push it. So if we're willing to fight back to oppose illegal, unconstitutional gun control after the fact, let's fight 10 times as hard now to stop it from becoming law.
Well, here's the whole thing. I mean, when it's passed, it's every man for himself, right? You may hear about a guy who got his door kicked in, got shot, or got his gun seized, and you'll sit there and go, "Damn it!" And you're gonna clutch your guns, and then you're gonna hear about it somewhere else, and it's every man for himself.
Right
here, right now, we have an opportunity for literally millions of gun owners to band together collectively and force these people not to pass this crap. That's what we're doing in states all across America. Right now, it's all collective. When this stuff is passed, it's just every man for himself, and hope it's not your door that gets kicked in. And we lose that way.
Hey, this is old. Ben Franklin said it back in 1776. We can hang together or we can hang separately. That's what they're trying to do with this stuff. I mean, what the hell is the NRA doing with the money that people are sending into them? What the hell are they doing?
$6 million Wayne.
$6 million man, Wayne. We need to get a nice little image.
I got a call from a gal today. They have hosted the Friends of the NRA dinner banquet up here in Minnesota for a long time. They've been very, very involved with the NRA for a long time. And they called up the NRA. They said, "We are not hosting your banquet. With your support of red flags, we're totally done." And after years and years of involvement with the NRA, they said, "We're absolutely done. We cannot support an organization that supports red flags." And they wrote back and said, "Well, we're going to do this where it has strong due process laws." And she wrote back and said the very nature of red flags is one that has no due process. So there's no way to spin this into a good thing, because it's not a good thing.
Well, some people are asking a couple, basic, I guess, definitions are probably in order. People are asking about that again right now.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't jump so fast, so far. The short version on a red flag gun seizure, folks, and like Ben was saying, there's no way to make it good, as you're about to find out, is that, and it depends on final language and amendments and the way it's drafted. It could be a neighbor, an ex-girlfriend, an ex-husband, somebody that you went on a couple dates with. It could be a teacher. It could be a doctor. It could be a nurse. Almost anybody, the way it seems, could file a complaint and say that you are a danger to yourself and others. And most of the bill drafts that we have seen across the country list off in the evidences that can be used against you the recent purchase of a firearm or ammo. So if you buy a box of 22 shells at Walmart, or you buy a Glock 9 at a gun show, and your ex-girlfriend or ex-husband or pissed off neighbor finds out about it, that is grounds for them to call you in. And then, of course, the judge gets to decide whether or not he wants to issue a seizure order. And I think a few people still out there might think that the judges won't do it. That's complete crap. I mean, they're issuing hundreds of them a month in places like Florida, Washington, Oregon, states like that all across. Illinois has them now. Indiana, they're being used with devastating impact right now against gun owners. And so, what the NRA's version and the way the bill is drafted, it's an ex parte hearing in the first place. So you're not in the room when this hearing takes place. And again, the overarching issue is your guns are seized prior to you being indicted or convicted in court of anything.
And again,
so the NRA's version, go ahead, Chris.
And again, every state in America already has laws in place that sufficiently deal with this. If you make terroristic threats, if you threaten somebody's life, they can come and take your guns away from you, but it requires a modicum of an investigation and due process before they can do that.
Well, and even without the guns,
at that point, you are charged and arrested, and your guns are taken away. But then then the process has started where you get to prove your innocence. This is the entire goal here, is to do away with that entirely and to implement the destruction of due process entirely. So,
well, let me
hold on. And to be clear, so the NRA and their state lawmakers all across the country, I talked to one in Iowa today, Tuesday, the Speaker Pro Tem in the Iowa House. What they're saying is what the NRA is saying, and that is that, oh, no, because I'm getting all kinds of CCs right now in the comment section from folks who've emailed NRA or called them and said, what the hell? And NRA's response is that we oppose red flag gun seizures. We oppose them. Sure. The version they oppose is the version that has ex parte hearings. But as far as the NRA is concerned, and as far as state lawmakers and federal lawmakers are concerned, as long as the ex parte hearing is removed, it is constitutional. It has due process. In other words, as long as you're in the room when you're not arrested, not indicted, and not convicted of any crime, as long as you're physically there when the judge says, I don't trust you, you are guilty until I think you can prove you're innocent, the seizure order goes into effect. And the NRA is okay with that. Now, folks, if that makes you mad, give us a thumbs up. If this is making sense and it makes you pissed off that the NRA is taking millions of our dollars every year and they're okay with this, if that angers you, if the idea of $6 million Wayne driving around town in his stretch limo with all of his cushy gigs, if that angers you, that they're giving up on this and conceding the ground, give us a thumbs up, because I am sick of watching hard.
Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, but share this video with your gun owner buddies and your firearms friends. That's all we all really got, right? Gun owner buddies and firearms friends.
Yes.
Share this video with them. They need to know this stuff. And Patrick, I think you probably got it over there, but I've got a lot of people who have contacted me in the last couple of days saying, y'all are making this up. The NRA doesn't support this stuff.
Ooh.
Well, what are you guys getting? Can you show them the video of Chris Cox actually talking about this? Because I think it's important. I think it's important that people see this stuff for themselves.
Right. Let me make sure. Yeah, Chris is right. Guys, what we're about to show you is the video that Chris just said. He just gave the lead into it. Somebody else said you had some audio problems. You shouldn't be having them. That must be on your end. But share. This is the video that you want to see. This is Chris Cox of the NRA. Now, notice, they don't refer to red flags as red flags. They refer to them as extreme risk protection orders. I think Chris might have just said that. So here is the video of Chris Cox of the NRA out of the horse's mouth, as Chris just said. Here we go. Supporting red flags, the NRA.
We need to stop dangerous people before they act. So Congress should provide funding for states to adopt risk protection orders. This can help prevent violent behavior before it turns into a tragedy. These laws allow a court to intervene and temporarily remove firearms when a person threatens violence to themselves or others. To be effective and constitutional, they should have strong due process protections and require that the person get treatment. These proposals can be done right now. While they won't solve everything, They will help
Done
lead
right
to a broader
after the
discussion
Parkland shooting,
on how to
guys. So
address a
they rushed
culture
to
of
support
violence in
gun
America,
control right after
which
the
is
big
desperately needed.
national
There will
shooting.
always be evil in this world. That won't change. But we can change our response. We can take action and prevent violence and protect the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding
Back,
Americans
guys, live
at the
here in
same
just
time.
a second.
That's what the 5 million men and women of the NRA are committed to do.
This
And
is
we hope
Chris
you'll join
Cox
us in
of the
getting it
NRA
done.
supporting red flags. So we're back live. There it was. Sorry, guys, for the cough there. But, yeah, Aaron, I think you kind of led a few minutes ago and said a lot of people said, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, I'm seeing some comments right now on one of our pages here out of Missouri. I can't tell if Greg Adelsperger is
We got a hater.
mad at us or mad at Chris Cox. I need you to be more clear, Greg, because
What'd he say? Come on, read it. Read it for everybody.
he's commenting 15 times a half hour. I can't really read them all fast enough. Greg, make your point clear or I'll stop commenting. How about that? That's the problem here is that you just heard it right there real time. NRA, with all that verboseness, all that patriotic music, all that, the flowing blue banner in the background, the 5 million members want you to pass red flag gun seizures. I haven't heard anybody else say that.
No.
I haven't heard a gun owner
not
in
one.
any state capital, and I've been in 4 of them in less than 10 days. I haven't heard any gun owner tell me that they want to see a red flag gun seizure.
Not one.
And so we have $6 million Wayne just giving away the farm. And Chris Cox, his buddy here, is one who's doing the video, just giving away the farm.
Yep. I got a phone call from a gun owner like an hour ago from up in Duluth. I think his name was Rick. 65 years old, been a member with the NRA for a long time. And he was irate. He saw this video with Chris Cox and he goes, oh yeah. And Cox has the gall to stand there and say, you know, on behalf of the 5.4 million members of the NRA, he goes, I never wanted any of that shit.
Right.
He was furious, and he should be. He should be. He dropped his membership immediately. And my Minnesota gun rights comment section is loaded down with people saying that they have canceled their NRA memberships. And the NRA called them last night and asked them for money. They told them to go pound sand. People are waking up to this.
Yeah, it's all over. I mean, Michelle on the page here at Wyoming Gun Owners, and we're doing our state roundup here in a little bit. So if you want to hear what's happening in the state roundup, you do not want to miss later on in the show here tonight. But Michelle in Wyoming is saying that NRA called her house last night, and she said, "Take a flying leap. I'm done with you guys. This is it. We're done. Never give you a dime again." And I'm seeing dozens of comments on that right now in the comment section. So I got to get back to my boy Greg Adelsperger here. So he says, know what the hell you're talking about when you call him an anti-gun person. I'm calling for the militia to step up and throw off this effing criminal enterprise of a government. Are you guys just talking heads, bobbleheads? What is the solution? All right, Greg,
He's an
just
idiot.
take it down a notch, bro. Take it down a notch for one thing, because nobody else is even calling the NRA out. So just calm your jets. And the ideal here is to not wind up in federal prison, okay? The idea here is to unwind the tinfoil and do our job and fight in state capitals and in Washington, D.C. with organized groups of gun owners to tell lawmakers what will happen to them if they back this legislation. That is what these organizations have always done. And you know what? How many anti-gun incumbents have the 8 or 9 state groups that we all get to work in retired from public life?
We should add that up someday.
Prejudice over the years. So we're down for this, and that's what gun owners do well. They know what's going on. They hold people accountable, and that's why the NRA has made so many of us mad. So Antonio's writing right now on the Missouri firearms page. Says, I got a letter today from the NRA. I told them I'm done with them, never giving them a dime. So
well, I've got Henry McGeese down in Georgia. He says, I am an NRA Life member, and the only time I hear from them is wanting money, both via letter and the phone. Now I tell people, do not join the NRA. Join their state gun clubs like Georgia Gun Owners.
Here's one for you.
Join GGO.com.
One of our newest members, Daniel Belcher, I talked to him the other night on the phone. He said, I've been an NRA member and recruiter for decades. No more. No more. If you're not a member of Ohio, go to it. JoinOGO.com, folks. We'd love to have you. But yeah, good point, Daniel.
Stephen Dawson on the Wisconsin Firearms Coalition page says, done, not this benefactor NRA member. They're spitting in the face of their own membership. They're spitting in the face of gun owners. And see, here's what we see. Here's what I see everywhere. Everybody, the politicians, these organizations, not our they think gun owners are just dumber than a box of rocks.
No doubt.
They go, you know what? We can put a boot up your rear end and you're going to donate to us anyway. You're going to go out and vote for us anyway. And we see this everywhere where gun owners are treated like absolute morons.
Preach it.
And like we're supposed to, and like you guys are supposed to fall all over yourselves in gratitude that the NRA exists or that a legislator would dare speak with you. No. And just here to think that Chris Cox could go out there and shoot this video calling for red flags and like everybody was going to go, oh yeah, we want red flags. We're the NRA. Way to insult your own membership and treat gun owners like dirt.
Well, it's a clear sign. It's a clear sign they've been hanging around the swamp for far too long. They adopt this elitist mentality. We know better than anybody else, and it just has to go. You know.
I was in the state capitol in Wyoming last week, working on, and again, we're going to discuss the state roundup here in a few minutes, guys. But I had an NSSF lobbyist, National Shooting Sports Foundation lobbyist, pull me aside. This guy used to be a mouthpiece for the former governor who vetoed pro-gun bills. Disgusting. And he tells me he's now lobbying for the National Shooting Sports Foundation and how they're going to try to push through a fixed NICS bill in Wyoming, either this session or next session. And if you guys are watching right now in Wyoming, we're talking about the legislation that would basically take all these local county and city and state records in Wyoming and add them to a federal database.
Bad.
And he's like, you guys aren't going to have a problem with that, are you? He's like, because, I mean, the NRA is okay with this, so you guys are not going to have a problem with this, right? That is the real world implication of these betrayals. These people believe they can do whatever the hell they want now because, well, the NRA signed off on it. The NRA signed off on it. I had the extreme pleasure of telling him that we're going to fight tooth and nail in Wyoming to stop that crap because you know what? We're not as sold out and pathetic as the NRA. I don't think he believed me because they're so conditioned to whatever the NRA is willing to concede on. They, like you said, Ben, they treat all of us as chumps. Like we're just idiots who are going to sit there and go along with their garbage forever. Stupid. Stupid.
Here's another thing, and we get this quite often. I'm gonna say this. There's a lot of people out there who think to themselves, and this is kind of a canned response. Everybody says, well, if it wasn't for the NRA, we wouldn't have any of our gun rights.
Whatever.
And I'm like, in what universe do those kinds of gun owners exist that they think that gun owners just wouldn't have done anything in an absence of the NRA? First of all, they've managed so many gun control bills and helped them get passed into law. That's an absolute joke in the face of it. But why do you think gun rights organizations like Ohio gun owners and Minnesota gun rights and Iowa gun owners and Georgia gun owners, why do you think they get started in the first place? It's because there is an absence, a vacuum of people fighting tooth and nail in state legislatures. And the same thing applies at the national level. Had they not been there, gun owners would have rallied and it would have come forth because the vacuum was there. The problem we have is that we have the demand for it right now, but they're sitting there saying we're filling the vacuum, but they're actually helping this crap get passed into law. And they say that they're fighting for our gun rights. So this idea that if it wasn't for the NRA, we wouldn't have any right, that's a load of crap.
The good news is that the veil has been lifted. The veil has been lifted. 1934, 1938, 68, 80, whatever. We didn't have the level of communication that we have these days. And I think that's why it's incumbent on all of us, not only here, this isn't the main part of what we do. We're fighting in the state legislatures, but on a Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern, I'm going to tell you what the NRA is doing at the Capitol in Atlanta, and that is nothing at this point, and in Washington, D.C. Why shouldn't I tell you about that?
Right.
We did not have this technology years ago, guys. That's why they got away with it. The only thing they had was snail mail, you know?
That's exactly right.
Well, I mean, we've had Wayne LaPierre, the $6 million man. He's been speaking out in favor of universal background checks since the 90s.
Who was it on Twitter the other day who posted video of Wayne LaPierre testifying before a congressional hearing? I wish I had that. I'll play it next week, guys. Testifying before a congressional hearing. Literally, it wasn't even the video, and that one exists too. Maybe we'll do a best of Wayne LaPierre next week. The $1 million man. It wasn't the gun-free school zones where he was lobbying for that. It was expanded federal background checks, elimination. HR 8. It's a bill right now, guys. They have 225 co-sponsors in Washington, D.C. It only takes 218 or 17 votes to pass. They have enough votes in the House. There was Wayne Pepe Le Pew LaPierre, the $6 million man, with the $10 million house out in McLean, Virginia on the golf course, with his driver taking him to work every day. There he was testifying in favor of the very golden calf legislation that the left is pushing right now, the elimination of private sales. If I want to sell a gun to my neighbor, to my cousin or whatever, Wayne was lobbying for it. Some liberal was laughing at him, saying, "Look, you were for this 18 years ago."
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a note.
I mean,
We're gonna do the best
when
of
your friend
Wayne.
walks into your house all the time, walks into your bedroom, rifles through your drawers, and steals all your excess cash that you've been stashing away, you kick your friend out. Look, you can't come into my house and steal my money. You're no longer a friend of mine. We were friends, but now you're robbing me blind. You got to go. No more drug money. That's what's happening here with the NRA.
Yeah.
One time a friend, now you're just fleecing us. Get
Patrick,
out of
make
my
sure-
house.
Sometimes
Patrick,
a friend.
when you
Not
do the
one,
best
sometimes.
Patrick, when you do the best of, make sure and add the Harry Reid video. Add the Harry
that's
Reid
my
video
favorite.
to your best of.
This is a quote.
endorsing
Yeah.
Harry
Yes.
Reid. It's
That's a great
disgusting.
one.
I got to do a couple quick shout outs. So we got Leonard Johnson here in Iowa. Says, Aaron, I'm your newest Patriot level member. Leonard, I heard you call the office today and talk to Krista about that. I'm honored to have you on board. We're going to have some gear heading out your direction here shortly. We got Paul Jones in Missouri watches. I have torn up my application for the NRA. No more money for me. Love listening to you for. Keep it up. Keep us up to date. We'll keep doing that, Paul. We dig it.
Share, guys.
We're gonna keep it. Yeah, and that's the thing, guys, is to share the video as far as you can. I want to answer it with one of the comments here. Make sure I'm hearing it right. This is Marcus McIntyre, who's watching right now on the Missouri page, and he's saying fair weather friends. Marcus, if you could elaborate, I want to see if you're talking about us being that way towards the NRA, or if you're referring to how the NRA is fair weather friends towards gun owners, because I'm not sure which one you mean. If you're referring to, I'm just going to kind of answer it either way. Yeah, they're screwing us. So fair weather friends is actually being very generous and charitable to them. But we do not abide by the idea that we have to give a little to save more. We don't abide by the idea that the best way for us to save freedom somehow is to like concede the ground. They hung generals in the Continental Army who acted that way. Yeah. And we should be politically stringing Wayne LaPierre up again. For the love of God, I'm saying politically stringing the NRA up for their dereliction of duty.
That was pretty good,
I want to be clear. We're talking about their political organization. And so we're not going to apologize at all.
Never.
We're not friends, not fair weather or any weather. We're not friends with this type of stuff. Ryan Irby is asking in Missouri, does Missouri have a gun owners association? Ryan, you're on the Facebook page right now. I work in Iowa. I work in Missouri a lot, and in Wyoming. Love working in multi-states. Missouri Firearms Coalition is leading the charge right now in Jeff City with Senator Burleson to pass SB 121. More on that on our state roundup here in a little bit. So more on that in a little bit. That is the group you want to be involved with. But guys, that's what's going on. This is a betrayal of the highest order. And so if you're out there watching right now, William Barr, nominee for Attorney General, You got to call your senator and oppose him. The guy doesn't understand the basics of the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment. I mean, for the love of God, how many must he get wrong before we acknowledge the fact that a high school civics teacher knows more about the Constitution than this guy does?
They always say if you can't understand or if you can't keep the Second Amendment, the rest of them all fall. Well, he's failing on this one. He's going to fail on all the rest of them. But I want to ask the question that my buddy William Cygnus, whatever his last name is, it looks cool. It's like, when was the last time we had a pro 2A bill passed? Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Yeah, and that's the burning question that we've been talking about here for the last couple of episodes. Is when they had the Republican control, and Nancy Pelosi was not holding the gavel, what in the heck did they do to pass the National Reciprocity Act? Why were they not pushing that thing hardcore? But now, oh my gosh, Nancy Pelosi has the gavel. Send us your money so we can defend your Second Amendment freedoms. When's the last time we got a get for gun owners? What have they done for us lately? Nothing.
True. Hey, I want to take a second here, guys. I know on the Georgia gun owners page, and a couple of other pages over in North Carolina, I know as well, North Carolina Firearms Coalition, if you're watching over there. But I have just posted on Georgia gun owners, and I think all the other guys on this video on the collected pages that their operations are operating in, and this video is posting, subscribe to the Second Amendment Daily email list. Subscribe. I see a lot of y'all are subscribing right now. We are going to start putting this on YouTube, this particular podcast, and we're going to email it out to you, and we're going to email other important Second Amendment related stories that you'd be interested in. I already see Jake has just subscribed to the email list. Redneck Georgia 41 has just subscribed to the email list.
I love it.
All of the guys here, Chris, Aaron, and Ben, please go in the comments section and have people sign up for the email list. Why not?
I did.
You did? Okay, good.
I did. I'm sure they're all signing up right now on the Ohio Gun Owners page. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this because we've been having some technical difficulties at getting this thing to stream to our YouTube channels. A lot of people want to get this on their TV. They don't want to have to sit there on their phone and do all that kind of stuff. So, but this is a way we can just email this out to you. You guys can click the link and watch it later on your YouTube if you miss it when it's going live. But we are gonna fix the live YouTube side of things. But this is an excellent way. Sign up at the link that we've all posted in the comment section.
Yeah, I've got
watching in Iowa.
They're pouring in, guys.
Missouri, Wyoming, it's all being posted right now, guys.
The emails are starting to subscribe and pin it. All of us pin it at the bottom down there if you can do that, guys. I've got Joe. I'm not going to give away your email, guys, but I'm going to tell you. I got Joe. I've got Kool-Aid. I've got looks like Dan, P. Kelly, Jeremy, Jay, Big George. All of y'all are subscribing to get this, and we're going to start rolling out a newsletter, okay? We think information is powerful. I mean, it's true. We want to get this podcast out to you. We want to get stories that are important out to y'all. Sign up for the Second Amendment Daily email alerts. I mean, that's just what it is. It'll come to your inbox quick. And like Aaron said, or Chris, a lot of y'all want to watch this. You want to stream it on your TV or whatever. You're playing with the kids or hanging out in the house, watching this podcast. But you can't. You're going to get it in your inbox.
I'm just going to tell you, I got to cut you off, Patrick.
No problem.
This is going to be the nitty-gritty, nasty crap you're not going to hear anyplace else. I have had more shout-outs and confrontations in the last 2 days in the Iowa State Capitol than any one person should be honored to have. You get to hear that kind of stuff in these podcasts.
Yes.
Ben had a big throwdown with the Senate majority leader. Leader is a heavy compliment. Let's just leave it at that for the moment. The leader, and you're going to hear this kind of stuff firsthand. I mean, the things that we're doing, the fights that we're making on behalf of our members. You guys are going to love hearing about this. And if we're at that point, I got to get in a state roundup. Can we please move the state roundup section? Because
somebody get a lasso.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Well, Audrey says, did anybody see Doubt's little video today on gun control? Oh my goodness, I could talk right now for an hour.
Hey. You did not call him by his proper name. His proper name is Brokeback Montana Doubt.
Brokeback Montana.
Google it. Google it, folks.
The guy has a couple of
staffers.
dogs, no girlfriend, no kids, and a lot of young male staffers.
Oh.
That he gets caught with out in Montana.
Yeah.
That used car deals gone bad. So anyway,
it's no lie.
I've heard this before, and I forget it how bad it is every time you say it.
How Doubt's boyfriend drew a gun on somebody out in Montana.
What? Whoa.
Yeah, no, this happened a couple years ago. There was charges, and
Well, at least that was a stand your ground law state because Kurt won't pass it in Minnesota. So at least
he's what we call an irresponsible gun owner. He did not control his own firearm. I mean, it got buried, of course. It got buried. But anyway, irresponsible gun owner, Brokeback Montana Doubt. Go.
Yes, is the case. Guys, okay. So Minnesota's exploding right now. We have red flags. The breaking news right now is that, guys, Senator Ron Latz introduced red flag gun seizures in the Senate just a few hours ago. And he also introduced universal gun registration. Statewide gun registration has now been introduced in both the House and the Senate. We had extensive meetings with the Senate Majority Leader, and he told us we're not doing anything you want, and you guys can pretty much pound sand. So we told gun owners about what happened. You guys all saw it happen. And now the Senate Majority Leader, this guy's a Republican, for those of you who aren't from Minnesota, he's attacking Minnesota gun rights as a scam and fraudsters and all of this stuff. And he's blowing smoke up gun owners' backsides as fast as he possibly can. And then today we have former Speaker Doubt, who killed Stand Your Ground for 4 years in a row as Speaker. This guy is the biggest anti-gun rhino that Minnesota ever saw, ever. And now he shot a video today talking about what a great champion he is, thanking the sold-out garbage organization, the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, for being such great friends and pals of his. It was enough to make you barf. The guy is a giant loser who is solely responsible for losing the Minnesota House in the 2018 elections. And now he's up there beating his own chest like he's a champion for gun owners. So we are fighting tooth and nail to stop this stuff in both the House and the Senate. We're putting pressure on lawmakers, and it's the biggest fight anywhere around, because the only thing standing between all this gun control passing and is a one vote Republican Senate majority. One vote in the Senate is all we've got. And we have 2 Republican senators who are supporting red flags and universal gun registration. So we're slapping the crap out of everybody, and we're rolling out massive programs in targeted districts to bring serious pain down on legislators. So can I roll into Wisconsin? Or are we going to
hold on.
Go ahead, Chris.
Before you do that, George Drag here in Ohio says Minnesota has an Islam problem. That's exactly right, George. They have a radical Muslim problem in Minnesota where they
build the wall, man. I want to build a wall around St. Paul. I want to put no offense, Ben. I want to put a wall around St. What
Build the wall,
Iowa.
Build it,
Iowa.
But they're like funneling tax dollars through their what are they called, like daycare, and they're walking the money through the Minneapolis airport. This is Kurt Doubt, Brokeback Montana Doubt. He's the guy who appropriated this money. They're using that money, they're walking it out of Minnesota through the airport, and they're flying it over to Yemen. And
Google it.
They're funding
hundreds of millions of dollars in cash, not $20,000, not a briefcase, suitcases full of hundreds of millions of dollars have been confirmed to go through the Minneapolis St. Paul airport in Minnesota's tax dollars, literally going overseas to ISIS in Yemen and Somalia is where this money has gone. So they're importing all of these people. They're all on taxpayer dollars. They're bringing crime. Some of them are very violent. We've had tremendous crime. And at the same time, they're trying to take away our guns. take away our guns, and bring in a bunch of criminals. That's what's happening right now in Minnesota. This is what we're up against. And this is why Minnesota gun rights is so nasty and so mean to politicians, because you know what? Our very lives are at stake here in a very real way. Our families, we got to protect them. We got to protect our gun rights and our freaking tax dollars, for heaven's sake.
You know,
ISIS terrorism.
I'm going to invest in a nice, expensive pair. I'm talking high dollar, $5 sunglasses from Walmart. Because somebody said in here in the comments a minute ago, they're like, Chris, you look a little tired. If I was wearing a nice, expensive pair of $5 sunglasses from Walmart, I could just sit here and look cool, and you would never know. That's a problem when I get here at like 5:30 in the morning, and we do the sad show at night. So, I'm sorry. All right, keep on going.
All right, let's talk about a brief update from Wyoming. We got folks here who are begging for the updates in Wyoming. The news is not good. 16-14 vote late last week to refer Senate File 75, our bill to repeal deadly gun-free zones and fix the preemption problem in Wyoming, was voted 16-14 to put it into the Judiciary Committee. This is the most harmful committee in Wyoming when it comes to guns. Everybody knows this. Senate President Drew Perkins did this on purpose. That committee met yesterday at 8 a.m. I could not be out there, unfortunately. 8 a.m. and they voted 3-2 to kill the bill. That included 2 Republicans who voted to kill the bill, because after all, there's only 2 Democrats in the entire freaking state Senate in Wyoming. So 3-2 to kill the bill. And so that's what's happening right there. We have some news I can't share just yet. Things are still being worked on right now. This fight is far from over. So if you're in Wyoming right now, watch your inbox. We have updates coming out later on tomorrow. This fight is far from over. I got 2 more states to go through. I'll do one more briefly here. I'll let Chris or Patrick take it from there. But Missouri, big showdown in Missouri brewing yet. We have people asking right now on the Missouri page, excuse me, is red flags introduced in Missouri? Yes, it is. Senator Jill Shoup, Representative Deb Lavender, 2 nasty ladies. They have just the nastiest personalities. Not good. They have introduced red flag gun seizure law in Missouri. So it's a bill in both chambers, House and Senate. And talking to lawmakers down there last week, there are a number of Republicans who we have identified as very likely to be co-conspirators on finding some kind of a compromise version, a safer, NRA approved version of red flags. So we're watching that closely. At the same time, Senator Burleson and Representative Taylor are working hard to advance Senate Bill 121, House Bill 258, MOFC's bill to repeal deadly gun-free zones on the books in Missouri. As you guys know, in the Show Me State, there is over a dozen areas where you cannot carry with or without a permit. So stand your ground law, constitutional carry law don't count for jack in over a dozen places. This bill would repeal these deadly gun-free zones. There's emails going out tomorrow and over the weekend from this organization with pre-written emails to your lawmakers urging a co-sponsor. I'll pause to let somebody else take it.
I got a quick one. Then we'll bounce over to Patrick. I think he's ready up next. But we got the first pro-gun bill in the state. It's being introduced already for us by Representative Ron Hood and Tom Brinkman. It's the constitutional carry bill. And in the last 24 hours, we've added on Representative Nino Vitale, Neeraj Antani, Candace Keller, George Lang, John Becker, Derek Marin, Kyle Kaler, Jim Butler, Lou Blessing, Chris Jordan, Craig Riedel, Tim Schaefer, Bill Dean, and Susan Manchester as co-sponsors to the Ohio Gun Owners Constitutional Carry Bill. We're rocking and rolling, getting ready with a Stand Your Ground bill shortly to follow. And quite frankly, gun owners here in Ohio murdered red flags. Last General Assembly, we butchered it, we killed it, we stabbed it, ceremoniously, I should say.
Stabbed it.
And that's the Ohio Gun Owners Roundup. I just got off the phone right before we went live with Representative Nino Vitale.
I thought you were to say that's the Ohio Gun Owners way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right here at Ohio Gun Owners, and take no prisoners. So.
I'm actually getting Representative Hood is texting me right now, wanting to know there's all these primaries being lined up against Congressman King. He's asking me about some of the recent names that have come out as candidates in the news today. So Always good to hear from good folks like that. What's happening in Georgia, Patrick?
Yeah, Georgia. I mean, all our people down here on fire, man. I mean, absolutely on fire. Our members and supporters are pouring literally thousands. How do I know that? Because I can see how many emails are being poured into the Capitol down there in Atlanta. Some legislators are getting dozens and dozens from their constituents. Calls. Look, Georgia has still Republicans have big majorities here. We have a governor who filled out our candidate survey, said he would sign constitutional carry into law. And the biggest impediment to constitutional carry in the state of Georgia is the establishment gun lobby. They are called Georgia Carry. They are actively lobbying against constitutional carry. And the speaker, David Ralston from North Georgia, House District 7, and he wants nothing to do with it. He wants nothing to do with it, guys, but our people are absolutely on fire, and they're going to keep pushing and driving the debate on guns in the state of Georgia to the right. That is what this is all about. Push, 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 push. Constitutional carry, repeal all gun-free zones. Now, the Democrats are feeling their oats down here, the left-wing Democrats. We're going to see red flags. I'm fairly confident. I've had a lot of people tell me it's coming. We're going to see so-called assault weapons bans, mental health mandates, ammo bans, mag bans, mandatory training, everything. Excuse me. So things are on fire down here. GGO members and supporters, go crazy. Send your emails. Get involved in the fight. Over in North Carolina, I do some consulting over there, guys, with the North Carolina Firearms Coalition, folks who are watching North Carolina. It's a little bit more of a slow go over there in North Carolina than it is in Georgia, meaning their legislative session is more stretched out. Of course, they have an anti-gun left-wing governor supported by Bloomberg, Roy Cooper. They're going to introduce a bunch of gun control. Not much has happened so far, guys, but I know the members and supporters of North Carolina Firearms Coalition are beginning to make their voices heard in this session. So on to the next state. Whoever hasn't talked, or are we going to move on?
I'm going to run through Wisconsin here real quick. So we have their session kicked off a couple weeks ago in Madison. We have Governor Tony Evers, Attorney General Josh Kaul, both of them in their inaugural speeches calling for red flags, gun confiscations in Wisconsin. No sooner did that happen when we have Speaker of the Assembly, Robin Vos. You guys know Robin Vos. He's kind of a dog. Robin Vos, a junkyard dog, not a good one. We have dogs, but not junkyard dogs. And he came right out in support of red flags, gun confiscations, and his intention to play with that legislation in 2019. Now, this guy tried to pass universal gun registration in Wisconsin last year quietly, but members of his own caucus shut that down, said they were going to come after his speakership if he did that. So we called him out on his support for red flags, gun confiscations. We have petitions flowing all over the internet with thousands and thousands of shares opposing red flags. Of course, Speaker Vos came right out and goes, "You're lying. You're not telling the truth about me. I don't support blah, 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 blah." Well, then he very quickly deleted his comment when gun owners started dropping articles in there of news stories of stations he had talked to in support of red flags. So once he realized the gig was up, he deleted his comment. And we, obviously is fully in support of red flags. So those bills have not been introduced yet, but we expect that to happen before too long here. And we are already pouring emails and petitions into the Capitol, in Madison, before the bill's even filed to shut down red flags. So maybe we can get it shut down before it ever gets off the ground. That's the hope.
Cool. And that leaves Iowa. And I want to make a special shout out to Nate Mecklenburg. Nate, I don't know what mother's basement you're living in right now, buddy, or if you're wearing any clothes as you're sitting there in your mama's basement, but stay tuned, buddy, because we're coming back to you in just a few minutes. In Iowa,
he's on the Ohio Gun Owners Facebook page too, and just so everybody knows, all the Ohioans watching right now, this guy is jumping around from page to page to page on all these groups, trying to spread this stuff. Aaron's going to get to that later. Let's get back to Iowa.
All right, one last thing before I do. I just got a breaking alert from Alexander Salzman, our political director in Missouri. We've added 2 more names today two more names today to HB 258, which is the bill to repeal deadly gun-free zones. Susie Pollack and Representative Cherry Tolson Reich, I can't quite, R-E-I-S-C-H, I'm not sure, co-sponsored the bill today. So that's two more folks that the Missouri Firearms Coalition members have added to the bill. That brings us up to, we have Ben Baker, Brian Spencer, Jason Chipman. These are all state reps. Phil Cristofanelli, Hardy Billington, Jeff Sean, Chris Dinkins, Susie Pollack.
You got the best name in the world. That's all.
And Sherry Reich on the bill. So Missouri folks, keep it up. We're going to have emails going out tomorrow with pre-written emails. These people are hearing your emails and they're taking action. Now back to Iowa. And I got to scroll back here. I got to find a comment from my good friend Leonard, I believe it was. Getting back up this before I continue on. Give me just a second here, guys. So in Iowa, the big push. Here it is. John and Leonard, I'll get to your comments in a moment, I promise. The big push in Iowa for years has been constitutional carry. We had two big issues that the Iowans know were being held back by Mike Gronstall and Steve Sodders: constitutional carry and stand your ground law. Gun owners flipped the Iowa House in 2010. Gun owners flipped the Iowa Senate in 2016. Gun owners delivered a pro-gun majority across the board. It's just time for the state lawmakers to, deliver. So they passed stand your ground law in 2017. We wanted to pass constitutional carry then as well. They finked on that. We got very close last session, and they finked on that as well. And so now, 2019, we have State Senator Brad Zahn, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, good guy, strong guy, introducing the bill. We have about a dozen co-sponsors already. I was there for the last 2 days in that stinky place, working on co-sponsors for Iowans, and it's going good. But in the House, not so good. Representative Jeff Shipley has been leading the charge for constitutional carry. He's a strong supporter of gun rights, always has been. I've known Jeff for a long time. He's a good guy. But the Iowa Firearms Coalition, this is an NRA lapdog affiliate organization.
Everybody,
Firearms Coalition.
Everybody pay close attention right here. Because what Aaron is about to tell you and explain to you that this Nate guy on the Ohio Gun Owners page is going on about, this exists in every one of the states that we operate in, that we fight for gun rights in. What he is going to tell you needs to be said so everybody knows exactly what's going on. And here in Ohio, we call them Buckeye Firearms Association. So
I was just going to say that very same thing. Every state has this, so don't tune this out if you're in Minnesota, because you got Fester up there. Who is doing the same thing with Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. In Georgia, you've got Georgia Carry. There's a whole lot of stuff going on right now, and all these states have an equivalent to this organization. I have a weird pop-up on my screen here, guys. I'm trying to kill it right now so I can get back to my talking here. All right, there, it's gone. So in Iowa, as this issue is flying down the road, constitutional carry, NRA endorsed, A-rated, Speaker of the House, Speaker Pro Tem of the Iowa House, little Matty Winchell. If you're from Iowa, you know him well. It's right here. It's the guy with too much hair product, more than any one man should have in his hair at any one time. Matt Winchell is working the House chamber desk to desk, working to make sure that these people do not co-sponsor constitutional carry. To not co-sponsor. I called him out in the rotunda in Iowa on Tuesday or yesterday, I can't remember, this week, and we had about a 15-minute disagreeable conversation. And I asked him point blank, are you going to support the bill or not? And he's like, I'll never co-sponsor that bill. And I said, are you going to encourage your caucus to get behind the bill? I'll never co-sponsor or support that bill in any way. And then I find out from other rank and file lawmakers, good people, good state reps who want to co-sponsor this bill. I find out that the Iowa Firearms Coalition is telling them not to support constitutional carry. Why? Because it's our bill, and they're not pushing for it because they don't like the idea of constitutional carry. And so this began to get white hot over the last 48 hours here in Iowa. If you're getting emails from us guys, you know how hot this is. You know how hot this is. And so the Iowa Firearms Coalition and Matt Winchell have now unveiled an attack video attacking Iowa gun owners members. And I'm going to read a section here. Before I do that, again, to remind you guys, they are attacking Ohio gun owners. Buckeye Firearms Association is. In Minnesota, the NRA lapdog is attacking Minnesota gun rights. In Georgia, the NRA affiliate is attacking Georgia gun owners. In Missouri, NRA lapdogs are attacking the Missouri Firearms Coalition. And you know what their nasty takedown video of us was all about? Do we have that, by the way, ready to play? If we want to play it tonight, do we have that video? Chris, do we have that ready to go? Just so we.
I can. And Patrick, if I send you a link, could you?
I don't know
fine.
that I can do it.
Right you guys can see it. They've set up an anonymous spoof Facebook page, and that's what what's his name here? I'm pulling it up right now in the comments. That's what Nate Mecklenburg is sharing right now. And as the Facebook page, it's a spoof one they've done, and it's called The Truth About IGO. And that's, of course, referring to Iowa gun owners. And they're tagging these moderate Republicans all across the country right now. And you know what their big accusation is, folks? You know what they're accusing us of? You know what we're guilty of doing? They accused me of fighting for gun rights in Missouri as well as Iowa. And they accused Chris of working in Minnesota as well as Ohio. And they accused Ben of working in Wisconsin as well.
Put the cuffs on.
And we're guilty as hell.
Put the cuffs
guilty
on.
As sin. They want us to somehow apologize or feel bad that we're throwing down for gun owners in multi-states. And to that, I can only say, well, a couple things. First of all, I wish we had more brothers. Amen. Or adopted brothers, as the case is for Patrick, our brother in the South.
A white one.
And I can also say that, hey, if fighting for gun rights in multiple states makes us bad guys, then we're positively evil because we love to fight for gun rights in multiple states. And in fact, I hate to pat my back, but we're damn good at it. In Wyoming last year, the guys you see on the screen right now with WIGO members, we got past probably the nation's leading stand your ground law. It was a huge battle, and we got it done in Wyoming on behalf of the members of Wyoming gun owners.
That is actually the best stand your ground law in America because it's based off of the language that we drafted here in Ohio for Ohio gun owners. I mean, it's literally the best stand your ground law in America that we all helped pass in Wyoming last year. Keep going, Aaron. Sorry.
Yeah, and so we've had the high honor and privilege of working in Missouri as well. I know Chris was down there. I think Ben may have been involved for a bit, certainly helping write emails, if not in person. And we passed at that time, and it may still be, the nation's largest state-level gun rights victory in Jefferson City, Missouri. We had stand your ground law. We had constitutional carry. We had lifetime carry permits. We had cleaned up the state's very weak castle doctrine law and about 15 smaller things and got the biggest gun bill in any state capital in history passed into law. And that was our operation on behalf of the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Hell, Reuters has done stories on how this was something we did and how we're so freaking proud to fight for gun rights in multiple states. And I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you guys. We are unapologetic. We don't care at all to proudly say that we fight in as many state capitals as we have time. Going past the state. Look, I'm not going to lie. I don't love Nebraska. I'm just going to say it. I go through there when I have to get to Wyoming and back. But going past Lincoln, I got to tell you, I'm always tempted to jerk that wheel, just sashay into that dumb-looking capital and just see who needs an ass whooping on behalf of gun owners, because God knows they need it bad in Nebraska. If we had more time, we'd be in more states.
Yep. And here's the thing. You know, they always say, well, you guys, those bills passed on their own accord. You guys had nothing to do with it. See, what happens in Minnesota all the time is losers will introduce pro-gun bills with no intention of ever pushing them. We have Minnesota legislature has totally blown 4 years worth of Republican majorities without so much as a single vote on pro-gun legislation. So we sit there and say, well, you are a big talking loser. And so then when they tell us, well, you had nothing to do with that in Missouri or Iowa or Wyoming or what have you, all we can say is go talk to the bill sponsors.
Yeah.
Again, not weak-kneed loser bill sponsors like, Tiny Biceps Jim Nash or crying Jason Rarick here in Minnesota, but real bill sponsors who worked with real grassroots gun rights organizations and actually passed the bills. Go talk to Senator Anthony Bouchard out in Wyoming. Talk to Senator Rick Bertrand in Iowa.
Senator Eric Burleson down in Missouri.
So getting back to Iowa for a moment. So as the word gets out now, I see a lot of guys asking right now to confirm they're not supporting constitutional carry. That is 100% correct. They are refusing to do anything to advance constitutional carry, and they're talking to lawmakers say, don't you dare co-sponsor constitutional carry. So Leonard Johnson, a good IGO supporter, Leonard Johnson, was talking to the Iowa Firearms Coalition, obviously, and called them out on it. And they blocked him on the page, of course, but they attacked the crap out of him, called him a coward. He sent him a copy of his DD-214, and showed these guys dumb Dick Rogers, in case you're from Iowa. This is the face of weakness and the face of stupidity. And weak stupidity is a dangerous combination. Shows these guys what kind of man he is, and they block him. Some other comments here on some other guys who were talking on that page, trying to get some clarification, and they just block them all the time. John Johnson says, Iowa Firearms Coalition hates us. They hate us, and they will not commit to telling Maddie to co-sponsor constitutional carry. I told them goodbye. And that is the same situation in Ohio. That is the same situation in Minnesota.
Well, see, that video was made for just so. I mean, gun owners know what's happening here. We met with Gazelka, Senate Majority Leader. He said, kiss off to gun owners. We exposed him. And now he's sending that takedown video around to every gun owner and just lying through his teeth. I mean, he sat there one day and begged us to get off his back. He begged us to help him. And when we said, well, you got to deliver for gun owners, now he's attacking us with that video as if it's some sort of big revelation.
Again, remember, I used to work for Minnesota Gun Rights, work with Ben up there in Minnesota. And before he got it going, Paul Gazelka, I got a copy of it right here. He was all too eager. When he wanted to try to get the Senate majority, he was all too eager to fill out his candidate survey and try to get us to mobilize gun owners in his district so he could get into that seat of power. Now that he's in there, he turns right around and stabs gun owners in the back and says that we're a bunch of fake groups. So it's just appalling.
Here's the way this works. I was talking to a lawmaker about an hour before this broadcast began down in Missouri, for the folks who are watching there in Missouri, one of our supporters down there. And it was kind of funny. He was in a meeting today with some gal he'd never met before who said she was a gun rights activist. And they were asking about some kind of a gun bill. And she was trying to say that she was basically asking him. And that gal, I forget her name, but that gal is probably watching right now. So I sure hope you are, honey. She was trying to sit there and attack us for working in Missouri because she's like, oh my gosh, they don't live in Missouri. They live in Iowa. And these lawmakers began to laugh and it's like, and they basically lived here in the Capitol in 2016 and helped us pass the biggest gun bill in the history of the state of Missouri. And so here's the thing, though. I told us this lawmaker, the reason why the Iowa Firearms Coalition and why Georgia Carry and Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus and all these groups, the reason why these organizations have so much oxygen is because it's easy to be a butt kisser. If we wanted to be loved by the Iowa GOP, no one would be loved as much as I would be, because we could write the emails, we could do the videos, we could do the program to sing their praises, protect them from anybody who tried to attack them, and we could have their back. And if I chose to do that on behalf of Iowa gun owners, two things would happen. We'd be very good at it. the party would praise us and my board would fire me, because we're not here to protect politicians and we're not here to protect a party. And if we wanted to be loved in Georgia, Patrick could be loved. If Chris wanted John Kasich to sing his praises in Ohio, it could have easily taken place. And if Ben, well, I don't think Ben could ever be loved.
I can't be loved.
But if we wanted,
only by you guys. Only by you guys.
If we wanted to play the game, if we wanted to get down on bended knee and kiss their butt, if we wanted to compromise and cover for them and not sound the alarm when they began to water down our gun rights or pass bad bills, we could do it. Because, folks, it's easy to be weak. It takes courage and it takes strength to stand there and take the hit in the face from the Dems, from the Republicans, from the media, from the lobby. That is what separates the men from the boys. And I'm not sitting here patting my back. What I'm saying is the members of these organizations, they do not send in their membership dues to have us prostitute ourselves in the state capitol and give their support away. They want to support organizations who will fight for their rights. That is who we represent. So I forgot the name of the guy who is trolling our page right now, Chris.
Idiot Stick Nate, I think is what.
Nate Mecklenburg. Nate Mecklenburg. Nate, it's easy to be loved, man, if your idea of being loved is screwing over your members like this guy's been doing for 10 years in Des Moines, like dumb Dick Rogers.
Dumb Dick Rogers.
Des Moines. But here's the thing. And, you know, maybe you don't understand this, Nate, and for the trolls who are watching right now in states all across America, we don't give a shit.
Don't care.
We don't care. We don't care. I have been taking these hits for over a decade in Iowa, and I clearly don't care. We've been taking these hits in Georgia for what, 10 years down there, Patrick, and Georgia gun owners, or 9-10 years?
8,
hasn't stopped us. In Ohio, probably the youngest organization we have in our state list right now, but clearly not the least effective. This has been going on since what, the third day? The third day that Ohio has been in operation. And in Minnesota, it's been going on since day one. We got there. That's the hit. Yeah, that's the hit.
And right here in this thing, they say that they don't consider constitutional carry a serious bill. They're working against this legislation here in Ohio too. That's why I said earlier, everything that Aaron was about to say also can be extrapolated to all the states that we are working in here, because it's the same program. They follow the same thing. The Buckeye Firearms, they put out these same videos that are getting put out in Iowa. And, you know, I want to enhance one thing that Aaron said there just a minute ago. But the reason why they hate us is not because we're tough. It's not because we can go in there and take hits. Because if we were just one person at a crack, if Chris Dorr walked into the Ohio State House or the Reif building and was this really tough, you know, guy that went around busting skulls, they wouldn't give two less about me as a person. But it's the fact that we come along and we mobilize the grassroots, we start pulling back that curtain so that absolutely everybody can see what's going on. We externalize everything that happens in a state house, and what we do is we just shine a light of truth on top of all these people that these cockroaches can't get out from underneath. That's what they hate the most. These other organizations exist to service that political class, and that's why they hate us so much, because we can take the hit, number one, or number two, but number one, we're backed up by thousands of gun owners all across the states that we work in the entire time. That's why the hate and the vitriol is cranked up so high. And like Aaron said, we like it. We like it because we get to deliver the hits back for gun owners. That's what we love the most.
Yeah. And to be totally honest, I get phone calls. I get messages. You guys give me energy that I never would have had by myself. I mean, every time you guys come on my video, it's like a deafening scream of no compromise. We got your back. And that, guys, translates into political power and pressure against these people. And it just And I want to see that at our rally coming up this Saturday in St. Paul. This Saturday, we have a rally in St. Paul. I want to see that because that's how this stuff works. And I love it. I love it. It makes every day awesome. It really does. So when Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka is sitting there with his soulless eyes, telling us we got to play nice when the boy lover Kurt Dowd is sitting there, just totally blowing smoke. I just know tomorrow's another day and we get to hit these suckers for attacking our gun rights, for attacking our freedom, and for trampling all over the people who put them in power. So we're rolling, and we love it.
I'm not going to repeat myself the entire statement, but I got to say it again. I mean, it doesn't take any courage. It doesn't take any resolve. It doesn't take any organizational fortitude to sit there and be the laughingstock of the state capitol. It doesn't take any effort to be loved by politicians. All you have to do is keep your mouth shut. So when the politicians water down a good bill, you keep your mouth shut, they sing your praises. When the politicians kill a good gun bill, you keep your mouth shut. As an organization, politicians sing your praises. You want to have a lawmaker come to your annual rally, kiss his butt all session long, and then sing his praises for the rest of the year, and you'll have 20, 30 of them coming to your annual event. That's how the game is played. This is currency. This is currency in politics. These organizations protect their back. In turn, those lawmakers protect those organizations' back. And who gets screwed? Gun owners.
Yep.
Gun owners. This same dynamic is going on right now in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Marco Rubio is trying to screw over gun owners. What happens? The NRA has his back. What happens? Little Marco praises the NRA. And this cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. And that is why we get screwed so often. That is what happens. That's why this works. And so we're not by any means opposed to shining a light on this. We dig it. We dig it. We dig it. And we're never, ever going to back down. And again, if people want to accuse us, the four guys, of being guilty of fighting for gun owners in various states, like I said, we're guilty as sin. Like I said, I only wish we had more brothers who were involved in this fight. I wish we had more people. So here's the real life consequences. Okay, this gun bill died yesterday in Wyoming, 3-2 in a committee. I couldn't be there. I couldn't make it. The weather was terrible in Iowa, and I'm in Des Moines doing a co-sponsor push for Iowa gun owners on constitutional carry. And so, in part because I couldn't be in two places at one time, there was no one there to counter the dozen Bloomberg people who were packing L-54 in the temporary capital in Cheyenne. So they got to sit there and tell lie after lie after lie for 90 to 120 minutes, and there was nobody on the pro-gun side to fight back. And so in part because I couldn't physically be in two capitals at one time, they killed Senate File 75. That's how it works. So I wish we had more brothers, whether biological or otherwise. I wish we had more people who could be involved in this fight. But until that time comes, if a rental car or an airplane will get us there, I know that we're all committed and definitely down for being in as many state capitals as we can possibly be.
And our wives, thank God, support this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if there's some real champions in the gun rights community that I can list off, it's probably all four of our wives. I mean, they're very long suffering for all this stuff. But the other thing I want to say is we'll never apologize for fundraising. We shamelessly fundraise day in and day out so that we have the resources to beat the hell out of these legislators when they need it in their districts, to identify gun owners that we've done the work of identifying beforehand, so that we're not caught with our pants down when these attacks come. So if you want us to apologize for fundraising, absolutely not ever going to happen. We only wish we could raise more. So
absolutely.
I'm done with my little mini sermon there.
So I'll say it, if you're in Georgia, go to joinggo.com. If you're in Iowa, go to joinigo.com. If you're in Ohio, go to joinogo.com. If you're in Minnesota, go to joinmgr.com. If you're in Wyoming, go to joinwygo.com. And if you're in Wisconsin, go to joinwifc.com. And if you're that little troll, I forget his name here, who's living in mom's basement, and you think that,
Bachtenberg or somebody,
I've got more ammo. These guys are using the same language, the same domain names. Of course we are, you moron. We're trying to maximize our efficiencies. We think we're trying to do here. Reinvent the wheel 15 times. So, folks, we're happy to have your involvement. And again, sign up for the emails. Sign up for the emails and so we can get you guys more information coming out here shortly. We have a lot of stuff happening right now. Didn't have a chance to discuss in detail what's happening right now in Congress, but we're definitely going to have more time for that sometime down the road. We have discussed red flags. We discussed, Patrick mentioned how many co-sponsors we have on UBC, on background checks. What else do we want to cover tonight, guys, before we
assault weapons ban, real quick. There's 30, no Republicans, but they got 30.
Real quick, Representative J. Todd Smith just added his name to the constitutional carry bill that we're running here in Ohio, folks. That info just came in from one of Ohio's best champions for Second Amendment.
I mean, you see, guys, what's happening here in Iowa? You have legislators, some fighting for constitutional carry. In Ohio, you have some legislators who are fighting for constitutional carry. In Georgia, you have some legislators who are fighting for constitutional carry. In Minnesota, all we have are people introducing bills and never fighting for them. So this is why we get so frustrated at Minnesota gun rights, and people go, why can't you just be nicer to them? Because literally the Republicans in Minnesota are the weakest in the entire country as far as I'm concerned. They're the weakest. Nobody's going to fight for it here. I mean, at least you have a bill sponsor, Patrick. In Minnesota, everybody runs. Everybody runs
for the hills, huh?
We got rock stars here in Ohio. One of their husbands is watching right now, and he says, I got to read this comment. It was just a second. If your representative doesn't have an AR, an AK, a 45, a 9mm, a shotgun, a rifle, and a fishing pole in their home, shame them.
Yeah, mine does.
That, Ken Keller.
You know, so this is why we fight. This is why we fight so hard. This is why we're unforgiving of legislators who stick a knife in our back, who say one thing and do another. We don't care if you're a Democrat. We don't care if you're a Republican. We don't care if you're the other childish organizations here. We're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard, and we're going to fight totally unapologetically. No apologies.
Lots of good comments here. Dennis Pulse, one of the most recent lifetime members of Iowa Gun Owners, says, keep the heat up. Turn it up if need be. Do not bow down and bow out. Let the NRA, let others do that. So we'll keep doing that for you guys, Dennis. We're going to keep that going on. No problem. Dennis Weir in Iowa says, nothing wrong with that sermon. I appreciate that, man. Sometimes we just can't help ourselves. We appreciate that, guys. A lot of stuff coming up. Guys.
I just want to address one real quick comment here. Alan Ewing is talking about Representative Nick Zerwas from Minnesota, saying that he's a good rep, and he's asking a few questions about him. Just very quickly, Nick Zerwas attacks our organization on a routine basis.
Big Nick.
He was introducing a bill to register and make it illegal for bounty hunters who do great work. They're fantastic people, to make them register all their firearms and go through a big background checks program, all to help out a buddy of his who teaches these classes. It was a big bad deal. We slapped him on it and he backed down. But he hates our organization. He hates bounty hunters, and he wanted to register all those firearms. And Minnesota.
The long and short of it is, if Representative Zerwas says it's true, it's a lie.
I'm not trying to make light of your comment, Ben. You're spot on. But I tell you what, if I was a bounty hunter in Minnesota, working in St. Paul, I have a freaking saw. I don't mean chops down a tree. I mean a saw.
Squad automatic weapon.
Because I can read the news alerts out of St. Paul as well as anybody else.
Yeah, these guys, James Cumler, he's proud about it. The company he works for has taken more than 4,000 criminals off the streets of Minnesota since their bounty hunting business got off the ground. And Zerwas was going after them like a dog on a bone, trying to make them go through all this huge process and all this training, hours and days of training, because one of his best friends teaches those training classes. He was going to help his buddy get rich by making all these bounty hunters go through these classes. Everybody knew about it, and he hates us for pulling back the curtain on that. So there you go with Nick Zerwas. This crap is happening everywhere.
Big shout out to Kelly Kimberlin right now watching in Missouri. Says, speaking of fundraising, I was on the fence about joining the Missouri Firearms Coalition since the NRA stabbed us in the back. You all are starting to change my mind. Kelly, we appreciate that, but don't forget, we're not the NRA. So keep your suspicions there, but hit up joinmofc.com to be involved with the work of the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Guys, that's all I have right now out of Iowa, out of Wyoming, out of Missouri, guys. A lot of stuff happening next week. We have some key dates coming up. Funnel deadlines are already being talked about in numerous states, not in Ohio where you're in session all year long, but in a bunch of other states. Got a lot going on. So watch this podcast. We hope to be back next Thursday night. That's the intention. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but that is our best shot right now. Again, it's, as always, it's 6:30 Central, 5:30 out in Wyoming, 7:30 out east. And guys, sign up for the emails. That has been pinned to the top of the comments. I'm done, guys.
That's all I got for
everybody.
tonight.
From Georgia.
Yep. Coming out to the rally, 12 noon at the Capitol next Saturday, February 2. Come out to St. Paul, to the Capitol, and make sure your friends, bring your family, bring them out. This is the fight. So,
well, that's a wrap for here in Ohio too. We some people have been asking, are we going to have another rally? You daggum right, we're going to have another rally. We are absolutely going to have another rally this year. When that's going to be, we don't know yet. We want to maximize the efficiency of it, and we'll let you know when that happens. But from Ohio to everybody watching tonight, carry on, stay safe. We'll see you all later.
Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night in Wisconsin.
Talk to y'all later, guys. Bye-bye.